Hello, today is November 21st, 2018. This is the standard SIG cluster lifecycle meeting. Lubomir, I see you've got some agenda items. Do you want to start us off?
Okay. The first one is that Lucas and Luke Perkins from the CNCF have started working on a blog post for kubeadm going to GA. This blog post is going to be published on the 3rd of December. And my idea was to announce it here so that more people can have a look at the blog post. I think that it's pretty good, but it needs some more work. And I'm not sure if we should look at it right now in the meeting, but I really wanted to add some more, like what features do we support? What is great in kubeadm that we can attract more users with? Like we have very flexible configuration upgrades, like image support is very flexible now. So, like Tim, do you think that we should discuss it here, or?
I think we can hold. I think we can actually all wait until next week to actually have everyone should be back by that point, and then we can all discuss what we want to do with the blog post then, and it'll give enough time for folks to take a look at it too who haven't. I'm actually going to loop in some marketing folks because they're really good at hyping it up a bit, and that way they can try and put their spin doctor hat on and make it sound even better.
Yeah, we definitely need some sort of a hype language in there to make it like more advertised.
Yeah, and I think too with the sessions at KubeCon, we can try to uplift there as well. I think there's multiple parts of uplift. Like I'm pretty sure Heptio/VMware will probably coordinate a blog post, or we'll get our marketing folks involved for blogging. If the SUSE folks want to blog about it too, more the merrier. I think anybody who's contributed, who's been part of this to help sort of do the uplift and general awareness of kubeadm, I think it would be a good thing.
So on the SUSE side, guys, do you think that you have someone who can work on a blog post for this?
So, yeah, I think we can put something together. Yeah.
That would be great. Like more coverage, more exposure for this GA release is going to be great for us.
Yeah, but you mean like in our own in our own blog, SUSE's blog, or?
Yeah, like actual uplift from regular channels, not from like just developer. Here's my blog post and how it works. Right? But actual marketing uplift, and they have whole plans of action, and it's a whole separate career field. There's magic there. There's a lot of magic there. They do a lot of work to sort of make sure that channels align and how to get massive uplift and stuff. So.
Okay.
I mean, of course, only if you think this is viable for SUSE, but I think given you are a consumer of kubeadm, it's probably a good idea to share it. At least a short blog post about, hey, kubeadm is now GA, and we are a consumer, and we also possibly recommend it to others. If you think it's viable for you to make such a post, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think we can call to some doors and yeah, ask for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Lucas just joined. We'll reconvene and talk about the blog post next meeting, which is next week, because the US will be pretty much out, and we'll coordinate with our marketing folks.
Sounds good. And until that, I'll have some more time to actually look into it.
Next one on the list was discuss status of docs PRs for 113.
Yeah, so there was a bit of a drama yesterday about reference docs, but I'm not going to explain it here. Anyway, we have a tracking issue. We have a list of pending PRs. I have applied all labels to them. If you have new PRs, please apply critical, urgent, and sequence lifecycle so that we can see the list easier. So what we have is upgrade instruction pending improvements to HA documentation. Liz is also working on cell documentation. My question here was, do we have anything else? Can anybody think about a feature that we are not documenting? Because I went through everything and I think we have a pretty good coverage.
Do we have the standard upgrade doc in place for, because there's two separate sections of docs. The administration section, did you walk through that stuff as well?
So Chuck is working on the upgrades. Is he on the call currently?
No, I'm pretty sure he's out traveling.
Okay, so he already has a PR to upgrade the instructions. You're saying that there is another doc somewhere?
Let me share my screen real quick.
Okay.
So there's two major sections, and Liz has traditionally done a lot of the upgrade stuff. So if you actually go underneath tasks, it's a separate administrating cluster, and then we have the administration for kubeadm. So we do two parts. Typically, we deprecate and remove the old version, and we have the upgrading from 1.12 to 1.13. So that's the one piece that I was referring to. Because usually that's kind of, it's over in its own section. It's often skipped and not paid attention to.
I can ping check to basically remove the old upgrade because he's only adding a new one. He's not deprecating the old one.
Yep. Yeah. So you're only going to remove the 110 to 111.
Is there anything else in terms of upgrades? Like, do we have to touch another document somewhere?
Well, there's going to be two. One is upgrading HA, and one is just upgrading. Right. So there's going to be the standard kubeadm upgrade, and there's the HA upgrade.
Yeah. So the HA clusters upgrade, that's Ruben who is working on that.
Okay. But usually all you need to do for the standard upgrade is walk through this instructions that you did for last time and do the deltas, because obviously there will be deltas for given sections. I don't know if we have all of it tracked for like every single doc. Like we could say like, you know, the standard upgrade, HA upgrade, then all of the standard kubeadm documents that are here too as well. I don't think we changed versions for anything for CRI, not that I'm aware of, not for this cycle at least. We should rev CRI for next cycle because I already saw that PR that came in flight, but it was way too late in the game for us to absorb the Docker 1809.
Yes, we don't have any changes to CRI. It was a fairly short cycle.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's Ruben and Chuck who can work on this, I guess next week, and we should be good on the upgrade side of docs.
Okay, I'll run through all the docs too as well. Like we'll have time, even if we get the PRs up and we languish a slight bit. As soon as the release goes out, all those docs PRs merge and they're live anyways immediately. So next week, I think we can walk through every single one and we'll still be fine.
Yeah, right. So I'm gonna, or can't say exactly how much time I'll have, but my goal is to work through the most important documents we have, do some like small changes as I see fit, maybe describe the scope a bit better in our like main docs, things like that. Do a full pass through, but that's probably going to be like a thing that merges right after the real 1.13 release. So like thing that merges right after.
I know like the docs folks aren't on the call and they get upset with us that we're always late, but we have this window, and a lot of times just from development perspective, we're always behind the cycle. So
yeah,
it doesn't seem like CRI has been upgraded, so we find everything.
No, yeah, CRI should remain the same for 1.12 and 1.13.
I know that very late in the cycle, we removed some of the join and init configuration feature flags. Do we need to document those somewhere?
Nope. We specifically, well, we might have to update some docs, but we pushed most of that into, what's it called? Into Go Docs. So because we have it in GoDocs and we reference it and point to that location, that has always been the canonical reference for configuration stuff. So that way, as we rev over time, we don't have to do this multiple invocation and revisions in the main documentation. That was a pain before, so we moved it in that direction.
Okay.
Last cycle or the cycle before, I think it was last cycle.
We also, well, I had a PR that touches some, we have some snippets here and there of the old config, and I already had a PR that modified these all over the place.
Yep.
So we are good on the config side.
We might want to run through the troubleshooting now, especially that the last configuration flag stuff has been changed. There's been like some old school weirdness in the troubleshooting doc. I don't know who's taking point on that, but the old school weirdness was the proxy flag stuff, and that has been all merged. So Steve Sloka did the actual changes to the proxy, and then there was only a minor modification change, which I think was America that did that change. The final PR. Yeah. So that should be all be done now. So we can probably run through the troubleshooting and make sure that it's sane. But again, I'm fine with waiting until next week on final docs pass through, unless other people want to do it.
I haven't looked. Do we even have an item for this in the troubleshooting for the proxy issue? I couldn't find it. I think we don't have it even. So the coordinates
we should have, but or like I'm pretty sure we have one, but I'm not sure if it's open or not. If we have one, it's historical, like it's been up there for 9 months or something.
So the core DNS problem is still viable there. I don't know what this is. External traffic policy. So this is the one. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the workaround in the manifest. Yeah. Well, we can remove this whole section, I guess, now. But at the same time, if somebody reads it from 112, the troubleshooting fix is still viable.
No, because you will get, if you use kubeadm 113, the CLI, it will generate this new manifest regardless of API server version 112 or 113.
But if they are stuck on kubeadm 112,
the docs are versioned. So
yeah, then they go to 112.
Then they go to the 112.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
There will be a 113 here eventually, and the 113 will just have this whole section removed.
Okay, I'm gonna file another PR for the website to remove this section specifically.
Yeah, but I would walk through, before you do that, I would walk through the whole troubleshooting section because I'm sure some of these things no longer apply.
To be honest, some of these things I don't even know. I don't have historical context on them.
Yeah, the core DNS should be done. External traffic should be done. Core DNS was done actually, I think, last release cycle, so we should probably remove that.
So the final item, the crash loopback of it's more of a problem with SAI Linux. SE.
Well, we already have that as a first step to disable SE Linux, right? So I guess we could say that still. We can modify this. But like it's the first step in the actual instructions, or one of the first steps in the actual installing kubeadm. I don't know if it's this one or the next one.
But people simply don't do it, and I don't know.
That's fine. You could probably leave it there. It's not going to hurt anything. Again, it's a troubleshooting guide, but this one you don't need anymore. The services with external local.
Okay.
Is there any other things that, before we go on to this next one, are there any other things that need addressing for 113, like absolutely important?
Have we, do we have a PR yet for bumping the state?
We've already done that. We do things slightly differently now. Lubomir, you want to give them the TLDR and the version?
Lucas, you might disagree with this, but we now are doing stable -1 only instead of fixing the minor as part of the default version. This is something that Alexander proposed at some point, and it solves a couple of problems for us. The docs team always generates like a wrong reference documentation for us because we waited for this change to the last minute, and they generated reference docs with the wrong default version. And the other problem was that we actually cannot merge this PR if we have stable -112, for instance. This PR cannot merge because the endpoint at the Google website for fetching the version, stable 112 is not available yet if we want to merge the PR. So what we did,
we went through the logic last cycle and we made sure it was clean and clear. You might want to double check it and take a look at it, but you shouldn't have the problem anymore.
And also we have a guard that the guard is doing. It basically checks if that we don't skew too much. So by fetching stable 1, you can potentially fetch like 116, and you can be still on 114. So we not allow that, and we only allow the same version. Like it falls back to the version of the client, basically.
Yes. So I would double check the logic there. Both Alexander, myself, and Lubomir went through it, and it worked fine for the 112 release cycle, and it's been continuing to work fine. I actually did end at 111 when we added that. I don't know. It was a while ago, but I'm not concerned about that one anymore.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'll trust that. Do we have a burn down issue in kubeadm? Do we have a release issue in KK?
We don't, because we're tracking the milestone. So if you actually look at the milestone currently, the milestone should be correct.
Okay.
So anything that's inside of there should only be docs at this point. There was some minor stuff, but anything that's not in the milestone docs, I think this is actually done.
I think some of this is going to be punted, like the improvements to etcd upgrade. If that's not done yet, it's gotta go.
I think it's actually done. That's the problem. Is like I had a comment here like a while ago. Is it just a docs change now? So it's more documentation than anything else. I will sync with Chuck and Jason, I think, next week. Most of these other ones, there's only 2, I think. That's a documentation. This is the only one, which I think I poked Fabrizio on and I said, should we close this? I don't think it's existing more. Can you verify? I think I was just waiting for feedback from him. So everything should be in the milestone. We've been using the milestones as the trackers.
Yeah, but I was more, so what I meant, I had my wording wrongly. What I meant is, do we have a tracking issue in Kubernetes
Nope,
that points to the milestone and it's a channel for the release team to communicate?
I just point the release team at this. So like the last release and the release before, I just point the release team at this particular one. Otherwise, it's just an extra issue. It's logged.
Yeah, true. But I'm just asking because prior release teams have wanted this.
No, Aisha is aware, so
yeah,
let's go to the milestone. So.
That's cool, but it's just been a requirement.
They're tracking the old issue from Joel that is called the umbrella issue for kubeadm GA. That's in the enhancement repository.
Yeah, that's the feature tracking one, and we'll close that this cycle too.
Yeah.
Yes. Once the docs are done, I'm gonna close this one.
Yeah. So I think all we have is everything is underneath this milestone in the docs, and we should be good. I've not gotten any other signal from the release team other than like when tests break, like the bootstrap tokens issue that happened. We were going to punt that out to 114.
So basically, Clayton had a PR that changed the bootstrapping mechanism, and then it broke kubeadm, and then we reverted. And the new PR which is up is going to be target at 114. Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
It's doing a workaround for the way we handle our kubelet kubeconfig. So according to Clayton and Jordan, they're saying that we are giving this kubeconfig too much power, and they had to do a workaround because of us. And Fabrizio also commented there. So I'm not sure if we should reconsider what we are doing, but at least we have a workaround for us in the kubelet now, and it's going to be merged in 114.
Yeah, I'm fine with waiting till 114, to be honest, because this is not a regression. This has been the same state as it's been for quite some time now. So it's net new behavior that they're changing.
Yes, but can you give me a quick, like, what it's about?
Tim, do you have better context than me on this?
I don't, honestly. Like, I was blindsided by it. It went in without me knowing that it was going to go in, right? Like, it broke on the beta, and I had no insight into this PR being merged. So, like, all I did was track down that this was the root cause of the issue, and then I went on PTO and I said, please revert this. And then when they said, here's a new PR, I said, please hold until 114 so we have bake time, because this broke everybody. This broke SYNCluster lifecycle.
So Clayton submitted the PR on Saturday, and this alerted a bunch of people who were, I guess, working on Saturday. And, so my understanding is that what Fabrizio suggested there is that we should, instead of giving high powers to our kubeconfig, instead we should request in some way, I don't know how, request a specific role to be able to bootstrap the kubelet instead of giving it superpowers for the bootstrap or something like that. Lucas, I can link you to the discussion with Fabrizio if you want.
If you just can find me the PR, it'd be great. I have like over 1,100 notifications, so it's somewhere here. But
that's why we use Gmail and filters, because I mean the GitHub notifications are hard to follow.
Yes, they are.
Okay, I'm going to send it later in the channel.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right. The last issue for today that we have listed here is we need to do flag parse. This is a known. I don't think it meets the criteria for this cycle, but it's already been merged.
Yes. So
is this the one that I already talked? Oh, I already talked about this one.
Yeah. I just, it was one of the things I looked at now, and I was just thinking, why did it stall the last PR that kind of did this?
There is a separate issue that we had that we did not get to this cycle at all, which is that it is wildly inconsistent with how we deal with command line flags / configuration options and overrides. And we need to grant unified field theory. And I think this crosses over with component config too as well.
Yes, it does.
Right? So I'm totally fine with punting in this until we actually address component config and all the other things together at once. In the meantime, it'll be in this weird state for some things, and I'm okay with that.
Also, there are a lot of consumers of this. A lot of components in the project have this problem. kubeproxy, the end-to-end testing framework, kind is soon going to face the same problem. Too many flags, config. So the kubelets had a problem. They designed their own solution, but it's not good.
Every component in the system has this problem.
Yes, and that's why I'm creating the proposal. I don't know, ties into my new proposal.
But that one is kind of a Band-Aid patch for the time being, just to unblock some key consumers that are very active in our community who chime up every time there's a release and tell us how much we need to fix this problem or sets of problems. So we got some of those issues done, but the grand unified field theory for configuration option itis osis is still a TBD.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm trying to solve with the KEP.
Yeah, I think we should total anything else in this cycle. We should totally punt and then wait. And
no, right. Yeah, this is like it just the next upcoming thing. I just happened to see this and like really should track this. I don't know if there's an issue.
I think next week there's a lot to cover. There's a lot of documentation, as well as start to do initial planning for what we want to do for 114, as well as like I want to talk about things that we want to discuss during at KubeCon. So I want to get some of the slide details in place. So I don't want to take up too much time today because I know a lot of people are out. I'm supposed to be PTO, and I'm sure Liz is shaking her fist at me for even being here. But are there any other topics specifically for 113?
Good job on the burn down, everybody. No mad scramble at the end this time. We just kind of coasted through the finish, it feels like.
Yep.
That's the way it should be.
Knock on wood, but I think we should. Yeah. We given how many of us there are and across how many different companies and time zones, I think we got to. We should give ourselves a pat on the back for a job well done because this stuff is hard and we did a good job.
Awesome work. Awesome work.
Yeah, it's super exciting to finally get this to GA. Been a long road, but
it has been a very long run, and I think we've been ultra conservative, but I think that's also been. I think it's been good for kubeadm. To be honest, I think I know there's been initial hurdles for some folks to want to install it, but I think most of those hurdles should be gone now.
Yeah, I think so too. So just mentioning quickly what happens next. I would like to write up, so like the burning down the docs things, that kind of syncing with the release team, obviously, in getting the release out. But meanwhile, and after that, or like before that, also the kubeadm blog post. Those are the high critical things, right? After that, I'd like us to, yes, start planning for 114, but especially we should review the roadmap that we wrote in last December. So when I got back from Austin last KubeCon North America, I wrote up this draft roadmap. We kind of went through it and agreed on the content. And I now looked at it, and I think we've done a good job on many parts of it. So I think we should review that, like just copy it over to 2019 doc. Start removing stuff that we've done, and then clarifying and updating to the current state.
Who is going to all be at KubeCon North America?
I'm not going.
Okay. There's the developer summit on the first day. That'll be a good time to sync on this document for grand 2019 planning. And I fully expect, there'll be some things that will be high priority that we'll want to address, and there will be a bunch of things that we'll say, wouldn't it be nice if I had a pony? And ponies just don't magically appear. So.
Yeah, right. So like, we obviously didn't get to some of the last items on the list, but that is really like, wouldn't be nice if. So yeah, so that's like one thing that will be super nice to do. But also, like, just so you know about the KEP that I now linked here as well. I expect that our SIG is gonna fall under a SIG, as it really like ties into all this.
It's going to be
We're
co-parenting.
doing.
There's
Yeah.
no way APM machinery is going to let you get away with everything without them having their say and stuff.
No, right? Yeah, obviously collaboration, but like, we will do, like, just so you know, significant efforts in it. Like, so it will require some bandwidth from folks here as well.
Yes. Well, what the problem is, some of my approval ACLs have been revoked just because they haven't been active in other areas. So, so sad clown. I don't have super user. I have overriding super user privileges that I should not abuse. I only abuse it when like we touch doc stuff, and then I'm like, whatever. Right?
Yeah, me too. It's like for those kind of situation where it makes no sense at all.
Because I never want to be an approver in that area ever. But I can for other areas, you know. Let's talk more about this once we get into it, because once you get into API machinery and stuff, it's you know, being an approver on that area is both a blessing and a curse, more a curse than a blessing, right? So
yeah, but like mostly so what would be great is that, for example, if we make the staging repo, for example, if we could get a few reviewers from here, or like have you in that list of approvers, Tim, for example. I don't know. Myself and then Stefan are currently trying to drive the cap, but we'll see how it goes. But overall, it needs some discussion. So let's plan in that for future meetings.
Yeah, that's a long conversation. I think if we're just talking about 113 stuff, that's wildly out of scope.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a better part of a year to get done.
Yeah, right, definitely. But it's going to affect us in many ways, and I got really excited when I started looking at all the things we can remove from kubeadm, because basically, as we've implemented component config in two places: kubelet and kubeadm. And in both places, we have a lot of code that is totally generic, or that could be written in a total generic way, but it's super specific to the specific application. So
yeah,
getting rid of all that and unifying is going to be great.
I think the general theme for the future would be try to federate responsibility where possible to other areas to get rid of the application specific code, especially like add-on management, configuration management for these other components, et cetera, et cetera.
So yeah, but overall, good job everyone, and let's do the last things needed for 113 and then celebrate.
Yeah. Are there any other last topics related to 113 stuff? I think we've been through everything on the list so far. Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.
Great job.
Bye. Woo! Woo!